Hello, everybody, and welcome to First Step Science for Friday, June 12th. We're here to talk about measuring, which is really important. This is one of the important tools that scientists do. Almost all scientists use measuring in almost all of their procedures. So I'm here with Anne, who is our museum educator, and she is going to show us a little bit about how measuring works and how scientists use measurements.
Okay,
Anne?
great. I am excited about this. We all love to do experiments, and so today I have some measuring cups. I have a little pitcher and then also a bigger pitcher with some water in it and 3 jars in front of me with some tape put on the lines. Now, if you were doing this at home, you could use any canning jar or any glass, and you can put a little bit of masking tape on it to show where you want to measure it to. And so we are going to pour a little bit of water, which I put some blue food coloring in so it shows up on camera better, up to the lines. So there's 2 ways to do this. If you have a little pitcher with a lid on it, you might want to just use that and practice pouring. Pouring is kind of a skill to use. If you haven't been used to pouring your own milk on your cereal, whoa, stop. When to start, when to stop, how to hold the pitcher, how to not make it drool down the side like I just did, and practice filling it up to the line. So another thing you can do is if you don't have a pitcher with the lid on it like I do, you might have something smaller like this, and this one might be easier to just pour out of and practice pouring and filling up to the line. Is this one gonna make it? Not quite. Yep, there it is. So either way, you can practice pouring and filling till you get really, really good at it. And so let's see, I'm gonna try the big one now. It is actually kind of fun to do. I really like doing things like this. Practice until you can do this today, and then later you can do it again. Practice, 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 up to the line. Now that's a really easy one, but how much actually is that? I'm gonna take the lid off my pitcher and put my water back in, and let's do some measurements. So we practice filling to the line, practice using our pitchers and our jars. Now let's practice with some cups, some actual cups, and actually find out how much water we just poured into our jars. So if you have something like this with markings on it, you can see this one is marked where it says a cup. Or if you have something else like this, just individual measuring cups, we can do this. And I'm going to do it with individual measuring cups. So which one should I try first? I think I'm going to do this one. So here I go with my pitcher dripping all over the place. And I'm going to see if I can measure to a cup. 1 cup of liquid. Now I'm going to put it in my jar and see where it comes on the line. Whoa! I need practice. Well, that was about a cup, and as you can see, it didn't quite fill it. And I think I spilled about a quarter cup all over the place. But that's all right. It'll come up. So let's say that's a cup. Let's do it again. Little practice here and there never hurts. There's another cup. I wonder how much is gonna, oh, there's a cup. And so I filled it past the line, so there's more than a cup in that line. So now I'm gonna try and say how much, it's probably about a cup and a quarter, I think. So here's another cup. And let's see if I can get it into the jar. So you might want to have a big tray under Whoa, and it's almost exactly a cup to that line. Wow. Well, let's see what happens if I put a cup. We know that this is a cup, and I'm going to pour it into there. So 1 cup. I wonder how much more that will hold. That was 1 cup already. Let's try another cup. So you can play with this. Just while we're doing this online, you can see what I'm doing, but you can play with it a lot and just decide, just practice measuring and pouring, measuring and pouring. Oopsie. Oh, there's 2 cups and it's not quite up to the line yet. So I also have some smaller measuring cups, and I've got one that's 1/4 and I've got one that's 1/2. This one is 1/4, so I'm going to try that one, and I'm gonna try filling my 1/4 cup and seeing if this makes it up to the line. Filling and pouring. Let's see. Almost. Can you see that? It's almost up there. Not quite. I think it's going to take another 1/4. So 1/4 and 1/4 is 1/2. And so, and it did it! 1.5 cups. So this one is a cup in this jar, and this one is 1.5 cups. And this one still hasn't made it up there, but you get the idea. So now, what I'm going to do, we have lots of different cups to use. You probably have some at your house. So I just used 1/4 cup and a cup and 1/2 cup here. So what we're going to do is use measuring spoons next. I'm going to put these over to the side. Let's see. I'm going to put the jars down for a minute. And I have some measuring spoons, and I have just a regular glass. So this is a little tricky, and this is also very, very good practice. So I'm going to put some water in my small pitcher this time, and I'm going to try to do a measuring spoon. Now there's tablespoons. That's the biggest one right here. That's a tablespoon. And there's teaspoons. And this is a little trickier. So I'm going to pull the tablespoon off, and I'm going to try to measure how many tablespoons are going to fit in this cup. So count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa. 7. 8.5. About 8. 9. Oh my goodness, I'm getting there. 10, and I'm only about 3/4 of the way there. Shall we keep going? I need some more water, don't I? So I'm going to borrow some from this jar. And here we go. That was 10, right? Here's 11, 12. Wow, that's a dozen. 13, 14, 15, and I'm going to stop right about there because I don't want to overspill my cup. So look at that. So you can practice with lots of different items, lots of different measuring spoons and lots of different cups to get some idea of what fits in, how much liquid will fit in a jar, and lots of fun practice with your measuring cups and measuring spoons. So Tom, do you have anything to tell us or add to our little measuring practice here?
Yeah, this is really, really important for scientists to measure carefully. And I was talking to some scientists about why measuring is really important. and they were telling me that science is all about doing the same experiment every time and testing your results. So if you measure with different amounts every time, it's not a very good science experiment, right?
Right.
Because you have to measure the same amount every time or you will get different results.
Yep. So I had a little spill when I was trying to do measuring spoons into this cup. And I won't do the whole thing again, but you might want, if you want to find out how many tablespoons are actually in that cup, so you're consistent, you might want to try it a bunch of different times. And so it might turn out a little different if you don't spill it like I did. And then you'll figure out which one was the more reliable amount that you measured. Because I actually spilled it once. So maybe it was a little more, maybe it was a little bit less. Oops, there we go. So yeah, that's a great comment. Okay, so we have another couple of activities coming up for you to try with us. So we're going to take a little break right here so we can set up for the next activity. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes. All right, well, we're back. And we're all set up again for our next little science experiment. And what we're trying to do here is find out how much each of these containers can hold. And they're all different sizes and shapes. There's this big one here. There's a little dog food container here. There's a cup, a jar, and another cup. And we've had you collect things from around the house. So your containers are going to look a little different than my containers, but the experiment will be the same. How much will this hold, and what will that look like if we poured that same amount of water into that? Are the volumes the same? It's all about how much a thing can hold, and that's called volume. So let's get started. I am going to put a little bit of water. Again, I put some blue food coloring in it so it shows up better on camera. And I am going to put a cup of water in one of my containers. And whoa, I did it. I'm getting good at this. And also good at spilling things. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to put a cup of water in my glass here. Whoa, it almost comes up to the top. Now that's just a cup of water. Can you believe it? The same amount of water, a cup that we measured, fills almost all the way up to the top in that container. That's a volume. So this one has about a cup volume. Now let's see what happens. What will it look like if we do the same thing? Get a cup, measure a cup of water, and find out what a cup volume-wise looks like inside. Let's do this jar. What do you think? Yeah. We're going to do this jar. It's got a nice wide mouth on it. Whoa! It doesn't come up as high. Check this out. Okay. To me, just looking at it, if you ask me which had more water in it, I'd kind of pick this one because the water comes up higher and taller. But I put the same amount in this jar, and it only comes up to there. But I think, and you can ask yourself a question, why did that happen? Why does this one look like it's so much more and this one looks like it's so much less when you put the same amount of water in both of them? Let's see. What do you think? I think this one's skinnier, but you can come up with your own idea too, that maybe something else. So let's do that again. Let's do a cup of water. Whoa. And I'm going to use, I put this plastic tray underneath all of this because sometimes, even though I've had a lot of practice pouring, I still spill a little bit. But that's a cup. And so I'm going to use a funnel too. That's another useful tool when you're measuring and pouring things because it catches the water that you might spill. Let's do a cup of water in this big container. Wow, there it is. the same amount in each one of those 3 containers. Let's do this, get this out of the way. Oh, and it has to do with their shape. Look how wide the bottom of that is. Oh, kind of the same width as my jar. Okay, I wonder how much water could actually fit in this one. We'll test that out in a minute because we're still exploring some of the shapes here. Put my funnel off to the side. Let's see, we know we have a cup of water in here. Let's see if it will fit all in this little container. Will a cup fit in this container? What's its volume? Oh boy, I almost filled it right up. Not quite, but almost to the top. So that's a cup of water in that container. And then we have one other shape of container to try. And we know that there's a cup of water in here. Let's see if this shaped container will hold a cup. Almost. Yep, so this one and this one are a little bit similar, but different shapes and holding a cup. All right, I just like this one a lot. Tall and skinny, and it makes the cup look way a lot more. So I'm going to see, let's see, 1 cup. Let's see how many cups can fit in this, just for fun. Here's another cup that we have measured. 2 cups. Whoa. And here's another one. 3 cups. Whoa! 3 cups of water into my bigger container. And over to the side, I have another really tall container that I really want to try out. And I didn't put it on the table because it takes up a whole lot of space. But there it is. I wonder how much 3 cups of water and what that would look like in this really big, tall container. It's tall and skinny, so let's find out. Whoa! 3 cups of water. There we have it. Okay, so it's just a little experiment to find out how the shapes of the containers that you use and how that affects the volume. So, Tom, do you have anything to tell us about volume?
I don't think I have anything to add. That was so cool.
Good. And this is really fun to play with. You can do this if you see a fun shape at in your kitchen, in your family's kitchen, and you want to try it out and compare it to another shape. You know, you can go on and on with this for a long time because it's kind of endless. See a really cool container? Just test it out. All right, so that's our little experiment with the containers, and we're going to do a little, let's see, we are going to do a popcorn break. So come back in about 5 minutes, and we're going to do something with popcorn and rice. All right. All right, well, we're back. And like I said before, we're going to do something with popcorn and rice. And the first thing we're going to do is, well, we were working with liquids. We were taking and pouring water back and forth and measuring them. And you can also pour and measure something that's solid, like popcorn or rice. And let's see what happens when we take a 1/3 cup. I took a bunch of rice and I measured it and I put it in my little measuring cup. And there's lines on the measuring cup, and I filled it all the way up, so it said a 1/3 of a cup. So now I also have a measuring cup like this, and it's also marked as a 1/3 of a cup. Let's see if it works. If a 1/3 of a cup in a measuring cup that looks different will all fit into a 1/3 of a cup. Whoops. For a solid measuring, just about. There's a few little wild grains that are sticking to the side of my measuring cup with static electricity, but they're just about the same. So take a look. Sometimes we use this one because it's really easy to pour, and it's used for liquid measuring. And sometimes we use the ones that look like this for something like flour or popcorn, but they all measure the same. And this one is 1/3 of a cup. So I also have, and you know, it's really fun to pour things back and forth, especially if you have rice or beans. You know, you can scoop and measure and scoop and measure and really have fun with something like that. Dig in it just like sand almost. So that was our 1/3 of a cup. I also have 1/3 of a cup of popcorn, and popcorn is special. When it's dry like this, and it's a seed. You know, popcorn is a seed if you take a look at popcorn. We're just doing this part as a demonstration today. We didn't tell you to have some popcorn ahead of time. But what we're going to do is we're going to pop this popcorn and see how much the volume increases. That's why I've got this big bowl here. I can easily put 1/3 of a cup of unpopped popcorn in here. But what's going to happen if I try to pop it? And we're going to turn on my popcorn machine. Let's see how much the volume increases. We all know that it puffs up, and 1/3 of a cup of dry popcorn seeds fits in my little cup, but it won't after it's popped. And let's see just how much it's going to increase. So here's my machine. I'm turning it on. We're going to pop some popcorn. And it's done. We did it. Oops, one last little popcorn popped in there. There was one unpopped kernel back in there. So take a look. Wow, that's a lot of popcorn. I'm going to put the popcorn machine down on the floor here. And let's take a closer look at the popcorn here. Now that's a lot more than 1/3 of a cup. And so I'm going to just get out one of my pitchers and see if I can fill it. Let's see, what's the capacity? What's the volume on here? It goes up to 2 cups. So if I fill it to this line, it will be 2 cups of popcorn. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to fill it up to that line and see if I have more than 2 cups. Let's see, a little bit more. Oh yeah, there's 2 cups of popcorn, and I still have more in the bowl. Let's see. I'm gonna put that out here on. Well, let's see. I'm just gonna put this in my big pitcher. Dry it out a little bit. See if I can fill that up. There's 2 cups of popcorn, and then here's 2 more cups of popcorn. Did I get that up there? 2 cups of popcorn. 2 and 2 is 4. There we go. 4 cups of popcorn. Uh-oh, my cylinder is getting really tall. Another one, 4 cups. Let's see. And there's still more in the bowl from just 1/3 of a cup of unpopped popcorn kernels. I have 4 cups, and now this is going to be 6. I gotta tap that down. There's a whole space in there. Okay, there we go. Okay, there's 6 cups of popcorn, and I'm still counting. Look at that. 6 cups. Let's see if I can fit the rest in here. I don't know. Not quite. Maybe. This would be 8, I think. Maybe just a little more than 8 cups of popcorn from just 1/3 cup of popcorn kernels or seeds. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's just about all of it. There's a few unpopped kernels in my bowl, but not too bad. So 4, 6, 8. 8 cups of popcorn from just 1/3 cup of popcorn seeds. So that's a lot of popcorn to eat for a snack. Might have some a little bit later. So that was our popcorn break and a little bit of a lesson in volume. Tom, did you have anything to add to this fun popcorn experiment?
So the number of pieces of popcorn is the same, right? Before you popped it and before, after?
Right, exactly. Yep,
Okay, so the volume changed, but the number didn't.
right. That's
That
exactly right.
that's
So
so cool.
with a little bit of heat in our popcorn machine, it puffed up, and there you have it, popcorn. All right. The same number of kernels, a lot bigger volume. Okay, so we're going to do one more, a sound xylophone with some canning jars or glass, drinking glasses. And we're going to do that in about 5 minutes when we set that up. So take a little break, have some popcorn, and we'll be back. Hey, we're back, and we're going to make a xylophone with some jars and some water, and we're going to add a little color to it and have a little fun with it. And we're going to see how putting water in the jars affects the sounds that we make when we tap the jars. And we're going to ask ourselves some questions just to see what happens. So here we go. You might have, instead of jars, you might have drinking glasses that are all the same at home. The important thing is that you have at least 4 that are all the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is tap my jars to see what sounds they make. And they're empty. There's nothing in them, but they are all the same size little quart canning jars. So here we go. Here's one. Let's listen close. See if you can hear the same sound as I tap them. Good. How did that sound? Did it sound all the same? Pretty much. So if you're doing this on your kitchen counter, you might also, instead of I tap the top of the jar, you might actually tap the side of the jar to see if it makes a difference. So let's tap one side and one top and see if you can hear a difference. Here we go. Here's the side of this jar. I'm going to do it again. The thing that I heard was the first one where I hit the side of the jar had more of a ringing quality to it. It was a little louder too, I think. And the one on the top was a little bit more muted. Same pitch, but a little more clear sound, I think. So when you do this at home, you can either tap the side or the top of the jar and get a slightly different quality of sound. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we put some water in the jar. And I'm going to add a little color too, because I think it makes it prettier and makes it more fun. So the first color I'm going to add is some red. This stuff is crazy colorful. I'm going to put some in my first jar. And then I'm going to add some water. And I'm going to measure the water. I'm going to put 2 cups in that first jar. Whoops. And we're going to see what sound that it makes. The amount of water in the jar will affect what the sound sounds like. So here we go. There's 1 cup. And here is 2 cups. Oops, I'm pouring behind here. You can't see what I'm doing. There we go. There's 2 cups. 2 cups of water in my little jar, or almost 2 cups in my little jar. Now let's see what sound that makes when I hit the top. Here we go. Wow, that changed. Now there's an empty one. Let's see the difference between the one that has 2 cups and the one that only has nothing in it besides air. Wow. Was that higher or lower? We'll do it again. The empty one, the full one. Lower, right, exactly. So now let's put another color in the next jar, and this time we're gonna add just 1.5 cups. Let's see what we get this time. Okay, so here is a cup. If I don't spill it, it'll all get in that jar. So here's a cup. Pretty, I love it. And then we're going to do 1/2 cup. Now I know from working with my measuring cups that my orange one is 1/2 cup. Yes, it is. So we're going to put 1.5 cups in this one, and then we're going to tap it again. And you can do this at home. This is why we were practicing measuring. We're going to get good at it by the time we're done. So there we go. It's a little bit. There's the full one. This one's about 3/4 full. Well, let's see what happens now when we tap. All right, so I'm going to tap the full one. I'm going to tap the one that's 3/4 full with 1.5 cups of water in it. I'm going to tap an empty one. Whoops, that didn't sound good. Let me try that again. Let's try that again. The sound started out low with this one, got a little higher with this one, and even more high with that one. Okay, so another color. Let's do green this time. And let's see, 2 cups, 1.5 cups. Let's just do a half. All right, let's just do a 1 cupper in this one. Little green for fun. A little water. Let's see, 1.5 cups, just a cup this time. Wow! Oh, will I be able to do it? I'm spilling just a little. There we go. Oh, yeah! So that's about 1 cup, approximately. Okay. Let's hear it again. Whoops. Try that again. And then the empty one. We're going up, 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 up in pitch. Okay. So there is 3 different ones. Let's do 1/2 cup now. 2 cups, 1.5, 1 cup, 1/2 cup. Oh, let's see. What color have I got now? How about blue? I like blue. We need blue. A little bit of blue color in there. Now you can use food coloring, but today I have liquid watercolor. That works as well. But at home, you might just have food coloring left over from Easter eggs or something like that you may have done in your kitchen. Any colors, or you can just do it without any color too. But it makes it really pretty and show up on camera better if I do it like this, right? Whoa, blue. Okay, so there we go. Let's try this again. The full one. 3/4. A little bit higher each time. Okay, so I've been going a little higher, a little higher, a little less water, a little less water. I think I have a cup that's half again, which would be 1/4 cup. And I'm going to put it in there. And the last color that I have actually is, I think it's orange. Let's find out. Okay, a little orange. Let's see what color that turns out to be when I put in some water. Just 1/4 cup this time. Half as much as I've got in the blue jar. And a little measuring, little water. And there we go. Quarter. Now to me, okay, yeah, I can see it. But down in my pan, I wasn't sure you could see it. This is a lot less than the half. And let's see what the sound does. Let's compare it right away. All the way down to here. Half a cup, quarter cup. I couldn't hear a difference. You know, I'm going to pour a little bit more out just so I can hear a difference. Whoops. Taking it over here, I'm going to take out a little water just because I want to hear a bigger difference in the sound I make. And so if you do this kind of thing at home, you can adjust the water levels so you can hear a bigger difference in the sound that the jars make. That's up to you. But I couldn't hardly hear the difference, so I want to hear the difference now. Let's see. One. Let's see if I can tap on the side and hear a difference. It's almost the same. Maybe when you get down to really small amounts of jar, it's really hard to hear the difference. There is a little difference, but not very noticeable. Let's see. Now I heard it. It got higher. And then, of course, there's the empty jar right here. So let's play them all together and see if you can hear the pitch going up when each jar is tapped. Here we go. Wow. Higher, 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 a little higher, and the highest, the empty one. Okay, so from doing this, it looks to me, and you can ask yourself this question, how did the amount of water in the jar affect the pitch of the sound? Did the most amount of water make it higher or lower? There we go. It made the sound higher. The less water you have in your jar, the higher the sound. And the sound travels through the water and it travels through the jar and then to your ears, and that's what you hear. So let's see. I'm going to try something else too. I've been hitting it with a wooden spoon, but will the sound change if I hit it with a metal knife? Let's find out. I'm going to hit it on the side. Let's tap it and see. Here's one. Do that. I think I like the wooden one better. It sounded more fuller somehow. Yeah. So you can build your own water xylophone with your kitchen glasses or jars, and then you can create your own tunes. And so I'm going to see if I can play a little tune. And our Zoom camera and our Zoom microphone might cut out some of that noise. But at home, what I want you to do is see what kind of music you can make. And also, I hope you had fun measuring and pouring and listening to all of our wonderful science experiments today. And Tom, did you have anything to add on our xylophone experiment here?
Yeah, the only thing that I thought of is that it seems like there's a lot of science in music.
There is.
So when you're making a musical instrument, you have to use a lot of science to do that, I guess.
Yep, you sure do.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yep, frequency and sound waves and music, it's all related all together. So we've had a lot of fun today, and that concludes our measuring and pouring and more science, first step science session. Hope you had a great time, and play along at home. You don't have to stop just because we're done for today. you can pour and measure and keep on going. Have a good day.
Well, thank you for demonstrating all of that. We learned a lot about volume, and we learned about sound, and we learned about how to measure things, which is really, really important for science. So we're going to learn more about science next week when we do First Step Science again. We're going to learn about scientific tools and how to use them, and we'll have a little bit of fun. Join us also for Get Crafty on Tuesdays and Let's Create a Story on Thursdays. Those are free to sign up for right now. You can go to greatlakeskids.org/news and events, and you can see registrations for all of those. Eventually, these are going to be part of the GLCM stream subscription service. So this is going to be a program that's $8 a month, and you're going to get weekly access to videos like this live, and also you're going to be able to play them 24/7 by accessing GLCM stream. So I hope you join us next week. If you're able to donate to programs like this and keep this on the air, then go to greatlakeskids.org/donate, and you can support programs like this at a time when fewer people are coming through the museum doors. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.